Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Oh, son of a gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Last Man Standing. I'm Dan Hollifield. Hey, excuse me for the late start. Stupid o'clock. We did not realize the time had fled past the limit, and I had just clicked over to here and go, "Oh, I got to start the show." And if you watch the reruns of Stupid o'clock, or if you were watching live, you got to see the result there. So, let me just say that I am very thankful to have with me tonight Dawn. Click the button, Dan. Donna, and Joe, and Rich. And we are going to give it our best bet to entertain you for however long you're willing to stay up late, but I've got to go to work in the morning, so I'm going to bed like 1 a.m. So we'll just do it at there. But thank y'all for being here. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Donna. Hello again,
Donna,
Rich and Joe. And
I didn't know you were going to be on, Donna.
Oh, Donna has made it her business to be a regular here.
For
one of the unusual suspects, as we call them over at Aphelion, the folks that show up all the time, not just in police lineups. I don't think Donna's ever been in a police lineup that she's spoken about publicly. There may be stories that we are not privy to know about.
No, I was arrested once, but I was never in a lineup.
Handcuffs were involved, but it wasn't from the police.
Well, we're not going to count that. I got a pair hanging up. Never mind.
Green room.
Not Friday night yet, Dan.
Y'all stated earlier that I needed one. Well,
getting there.
I can't count the number of times I've been in handcuffs. But however,
my handcuffs are
gold. Never involved. And sadly, no were other green room type escapades either. It was just learning how to escape them, trying to learn how to be a magician.
He said.
Hey, we're buying that story. Hey, come on, give him the benefit of the doubt. Everybody has the right to have been young and experimentational at one time.
I used to work for a magic shop.
No, I think I've heard you say that before, and you had to like try out all the stuff that came through.
Well, how can you sell it effectively if you haven't tried it?
There was some other novelty type stuff that I did not want to try, and I don't think the management of the store would be happy if I partook of those wares and tried that
yes,
stuff out.
I believe I recognize the category that you're speaking of. Yes,
the one with the apple pie flavor in the it's.
Is this possibly stuff that I used to sell myself?
Probably.
I'm not sure, but still, could you sell it effectively without ever having tested an example of this particular ware?
Yes. I can easily sell it without having to try before I buy. But
yeah, I was on the MARTA train in Atlanta, going from the outskirts to the airport, and one unfortunate young man seems to have thought that one of those extremely bad smell pranks was a good thing to try on what's basically an above ground subway train. And he was, by his facial expression when he walked by, he was going from one end of the train to the other. By the time he reached the car I was in, he had no longer been of the opinion that this was in any way a good idea, but he was permeated with this stench and had to keep going, because otherwise he would have faced some kind of violence. Probably not an arrest, because no cop in his right mind would want that in their patrol car. So
I was going to say, if he stood still, he'd have to smell himself.
No, he could smell himself. You could tell. He had thought it was a great idea when he started at the front of the train, but by the time he got to where we were in the middle, he had ceased to be of that opinion. And it was quite an amazingly unpleasant stench.
A giant metal tube and a stink bomb is never a good idea.
No, especially not if you were right there when it went off and you've got to carry it with you as it wafts its way along the giant metal tube. I do believe one of the drivers sped the train up in order to get the journey over with quicker.
Do you blame him?
No, I don't blame him at all. And I wouldn't have cared if he went past safety limits, as long as I got off that damn train as quick as possible. Once it reached the airport, we all piled out, and I'm sure that the extra ventilation fans that showed up 5 minutes later to try and clear the air of the train were just sheer coincidence. I mean, nobody planned that. Couldn't have radioed it in ahead of time, but I look back on that and go, if I were to put that in a story, nobody would ever believe it. Thank God I write fiction.
Yeah, you still get called on it.
I get called on everything. Seriously. Well, no. If there's hanky panky going on, I don't get called on it unless somebody goes, "Hey, that could have been a little bit spicier," but otherwise, there's not much I've written that anybody's complained it's not physically possible, or a rational reaction to the situation. Hello,
Hey, Michaela.
Michaela. Do you want to join us, Michaela? Oh, there's always room for one more.
Oh
Seriously.
my.
Come on, Michaela.
I'll just go ahead and see if I can send her the link, whether she wants to again or not. I mean, it's up to her.
No.
Uh-huh. It's always
Uh-uh.
it's always up to her. The,
It's not what you
the
said
lady the
last
lady
night.
has, excuse me. I always ask whether or not this particular attention is unwarranted or
Oh,
not.
she's still at work.
She's
Oh,
still at work?
That's what it says.
well, she does do
Dang.
closing time, yes.
Yeah.
So, well, you get home before 1 a.m., pop in. The link is there.
Midnight for your location.
I was going to say midnight for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for y'all. Which makes it more rational that Michaela is there at 10 p.m. her time rather than 11 our time.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
if I get my
Dawn.
butt moving, she'd be able to quit her job.
I'm sure it's not all down to you.
No, she needs to get the rest of that
Other
scars story done.
other people
Pieces.
other people have to come off the hip and spend some money, and your job is to tell them how well worth her work their money is. That's it.
I mean, January was pretty good, I think, but
Hey,
onward, upward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's now in that one bookstore, and they love her there.
Well, she's in the game store and a bookstore and another bookstore. She's in 2 bookstores now.
Oh, cool.
I've never been in 2 bookstores at the same time. There was only one that ever local. There was only one local brick and mortar bookstore that ever carried any of my work, and I went in there and I offered to autograph everything they had on the shelf, and they said, "No, don't do that. Don't do that." Started to do it any damn way,
Good.
but my wife thought I'd get arrested, so what?
I guess Brandon Sanderson will occasionally go into bookstores and he'll occasionally pick up some of the books that he's written, whip off a quick autograph, put in like a bumper sticker or some other little goodies and stuff like that, and just put the stuff back on the shelf.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, and Barnes and Noble. There's a third store, so
How did you get into Barnes and Noble? When I was talking to them, they weren't too agreeable.
when I did it, I was actually there, and I go, well, I notice you have a shelf of local authors. I'm one. Let me recommend another one. He's deceased now, but his books are wonderful, and I gave him a name of my first ever editor that I knew back in college, and his name was Tom Dietz, and
It,
he's got a bunch of books out. I highly recommend each and every one of them.
yeah, but you have a regular publisher.
I did it that time, and I
Barnes and
do it.
Noble's not too crazy about indies because they have to buy. This is what I was told.
Oh yes, yes.
They have to have a certain number of books, and they have to have a place to send them back to.
Well, mine have always been small press publishers, not a big name. I've never been associated with a big name.
It's still a publisher. It's still a place to send things back.
Yeah.
Because evidently, me just picking them up and taking them out was not a place to send them back.
Sorry, guys.
Well, at least we're not seeing cat butt yet.
No,
any minute now.
They're busy showing that to mommy.
Everybody needs a little bit of.
To be fair,
Never
my phone
mind.
is
Never
my
mind. Never
power.
mind.
To be
Not
fair,
Friday yet.
Michaela, but at least some of my books are available on barnesandnoble.com.
Oh yes, yes. That was a trick because my original publisher for that book that wound up in the brick and mortar store did go through um, both the Zon and Barnes and Noble.
Mm-hmm.
So they already carried it on their
Mm-hmm.
website. All they had to do was get a few copies.
Yeah.
And they sold out at least once.
Yep.
And thankfully, I told them don't get too many at one time because there's not that many people that know who I am that live here where I is.
Mm-hmm.
But they did sell out at least once.
Well, yeah, there's some of mine are available both on Barnes and Noble and on the Zon. I just tell people, please go to Lulu because I get more money if you buy it through Lulu than the other two.
I don't blame you at all because that is the best. And I was always telling people, please, whether you want a paperback or a hardback, that's fine. But I get paid better for the ebook. If you want to give me more money, buy the ebook. I get an entire 50 cents. Whereas for the paperback, I only got 40, and for the hardback, I only got 30. Paperback price was $16. Hardback price was $27. I got 50 cents for the ebook, which was, I think, $1.99 as an
Mm-hmm.
ebook. And then $16 paperback, I get 30 cents. And so did my publisher. Everything else went to the printer or the distributor. Hardback was $26 and change. I got another dime less, 30 cents. So did my publisher. Everything else went to the seller and the printer. So these are just some of those things that you have to come to grips with when you're dealing with the major outlets.
Mm-hmm.
Now it helped my ego that my publisher insisted that he never got anything more than I did out of each individual format. It's not like he was making a mint off of me. He got exactly what I got.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of his big deals. Was he's not out to make $100,000 while I make 50. You know, if I make 50, he made 50, and everybody else made the rest of the 100,000. If if that many copies had ever been sold, I swear. I don't know. We're looking forward to the new publisher getting the second edition of the Spaceport Bar out, the Spaceport Bar book out, so that that's a little bit more equitable in the contract. But and it will have the advantage of having all the original typos corrected. And just for your reading pleasure, brand new typos inserted just for you.
Oh, better be going by tomorrow night green room, otherwise I'm gonna end up in the hospital.
Doctor, we can't stop her laughing. Turn off her internet connection, damn it. Stat.
Right.
Oh, we broke Rich.
No, it's just she needs to change her name to Laughs from All Orifices.
What?
You were saying your nickname with that one running group was Squeals from All Orifices?
Yeah.
You now need to change your name to Laughs from All Orifices.
I have that effect on people. I can't say why.
I thought you said something else, which would have been a variation of somebody else's name, which is not. It's Green Room. A lot
What
of the names
laptop
are.
situation? Dawn, evidently
What?
you were supposed to know about some laptop situation.
Hold on. No, I have not. Hey, Joe, there's a laptop situation.
Yes.
Hey, Joe, where you going with that laptop in your hand?
um, Michaela has an older laptop that she's going to give me so I can do stuff not when I'm at home. So if I
Oh,
need help with it, would you be so kind as to help with it? Is that what I'm supposed to be asking, Michaela?
Technically, me or Rich, we are kind of the two IT people. Well, and Carl's IT, old former IT.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably probably me or Rich.
Okay.
no, okay.
I don't know if you saw that Greyhound coming there, Rich, but
Well, no. As soon as that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get looped into this somehow. All right.
Okay, Michaela's got a laptop that
Carl would
runs
be your
on Windows
closest.
7 that apparently is the one that she wants to give to Dawn. And my first impulse is to go put some form of Linux on it, and
7
maybe it.
wasn't horrible, but Ubuntu would probably make things so much easier.
Well, I mean, some flavor of.
so let me ask, what are you going to be doing with it, Dawn?
Pretty much just doing kind of the Facebook thing for Michaela and keeping up on stuff. So like, because I can't get to my computer after 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So basically, just web browsing type stuff. No major heavy hitting as far as creating documents or anything like that.
Not creating documents, maybe Word documents if I need to remember stuff.
So some sort of notebook function.
Yeah.
And web browsing.
Right.
I don't think either one of you gentlemen would find that too much of a challenge.
No. And I mean, it's basically going to be ready to go as soon as you get it from her. So, I mean, short of adding maybe a different user account to it, or running the restore on it first. But
yeah, I think Michaela's main concern was getting rid of Windows 7 and putting something on there that actually works in this day and age.
Oh, Windows 7 still works in this day and age. If it was XP, then we'd have issues, but
a lot of security issues. I mean, that's
and considering what she's doing.
Yeah, and that thus my put some flavor of Unix, Linux, whatever on there that would, get rid of the Windows problem, but you'd still have to download that format of program that would actually work, and there are plenty of them out there. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. One of us would have to. Either the laptop would have to be shipped to us to put the Linux on there, or trying to walk someone through over the phone on doing it without actually doing it to one of my machines at the same time.
I think Windows 7 is going to do what Michaela wants her to do with it, with photos and memes.
Yeah, and you might not have to mess with it at all except for setting up an account for Dawn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can still upgrade Windows 7 for free.
Try it one more time, Rich. You digitized and spoke like you were going 1,000 miles a second.
You can still upgrade Windows 7 to Windows 10 for free.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I gotta remember what the link is for it. They don't advertise it, but you can still do it.
And that would get over the hardware problem trying to get it to go to 11. So
no, the question is, can her laptop handle 10.
Throw enough RAM at it.
More than likely, 10 was not horribly more hardware intensive than 7 was. So,
Yeah,
I mean, worst case scenario, run the utility to see if it's, because that's one thing that Windows is good about is the utility for, can this upgrade to the next flavor? They're really good about putting those out.
A lot of it is like, okay, at night now, like tonight, if this wasn't on, I could be searching for thumbnails or memes or, doing stuff like that. Whereas I don't know if you've ever seen me look at my phone if I'm trying to look at a picture on my phone. When you guys bring something up and I have to do this.
Yeah.
Because I'm blind as a bat. So, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that would work fine. And really, like, if you wanted help with running the upgrade, I could walk you through how to put on Google Chrome's remote desktop.
Okay.
And I could just remote in and get it to the point where it's ready to upgrade, and then just have you click the last few buttons.
So, Joe, have you heard of the utility Guacamole?
Guacamole?
Yeah.
Pairs well with some certain chips, but otherwise, no.
Okay, so apparently
I knew that was going to happen. I swear, I knew that was going to happen.
Honestly, I was thinking the same thing earlier today when I was talking with a friend of mine who works for Trend Micro, that they use Guacamole kind of like almost like a team viewer type thing. It's supposed to be a free app for doing that kind of a thing. So
I have the best friends.
We might want to look into that.
Oh, he walked away. Oh God, he's there. Okay. I got nervous for a minute.
And see about putting that together for the folks on the indie CD side that need technical help.
Yeah.
No, I promise you, Dawn, I wasn't about to mail you an old laptop with Windows Millennium on it. Oh, that look from Joe. That was
right through
that was like you contemplated terrorism there, boy.
No, he thought you were doing terrorism, sending terrorists
95
to the mail.
Oh no, 95 was great. Millennium Edition was Windows 98 with a new fucking sticker put on it and some upgrades that somehow broke it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh. I swear there's been more flavors of Windows than there has been of Baskin Robbins here lately. Oh.
So, what's the actual name of the is it Guacamole Remote Software? Or because doing a quick Google search for guacamole, I have guacamole recipe, guacamole Dyer, which apparently is guacamole restaurant in Dyer, Indiana, guacamole ingredients, guacamole Gamer Fart 9000, and yes, that is actually on there. Guacamole calories, recipe easy, guacamole Takis.
Apache
Please
Guacamole. Guacamole.apache.org.
Okay. Damn. So
it's remote desktop gateway.
So guacamole.apache.org, you said?
Yep.
Yes, I know. I have a bunch of passwords that have leaked and are all the same, and people can get my stuff go away.
And funny enough, the screenshot that they're showing, I'm pretty sure that's 95 or 98, one of the two.
It looks like it.
We all had to have our start somewhere.
It's Windows 7, just with the 98 theme.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you're a nerd when you can look at a screenshot and go, that looks like, and then the specific OS.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'll work with Ubuntu.
No plugins, client software or client software required. Completely runs through the browser. So, I mean, if we want to help folks on the indie CD side, and I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'll offer to help as well if we want to help the folks this way.
It's good. I've been looking for a good free one. Lately I've just been using Chrome Remote Desktop.
I've been using TeamViewer.
Yeah, TeamViewer finally caught on to me.
Don't know if my microphone reconnected after I came back down the hall.
There you are.
There you are.
Am I right in thinking that because it was Apache.org, it was connected with the same folks that are doing OpenOffice Suite?
Quite possibly.
I'm very
I mean,
impressed with that. If it is the same thing, then this thing's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely free. It's web based. Now, again, I haven't had a chance to play with it at all. I was talking to my best friend earlier. He was working on doing some config stuff because they actually use it for some stuff at work. And he mentioned that it was free. I'm like, So I wrote it down on my list of toys to look at.
Okay, I will come back to that in
And
a
before
second.
you go there,
I need to finish up this
who's
thing
doing-
for work. Stop scrolling that much. Damn it.
We got less than 24 hours to the green room, Rich. Relax. It'll all be all right. Just lay back and think of England.
I'm being a good girl.
I am too. So every time you guys make me laugh, it hurts.
Why is that, Don?
Well, the only way that's never going to happen again is if you stop hanging out with us, because we're always going to make you laugh.
I know.
Dawn
It's
is dreaming about Elvis, loves horses, and her boyfriend too.
she's a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
But she's gone too far. But it don't
my
matter
bladder
anyway.
is acting up.
Mm.
It's a bladder flare from my interstitial cystitis. Say that 10 times fast.
No, thank
I
you.
can't say that once fast.
I'd rather not bite my tongue. And believe me, I'd have to go put the dentures in so I could do that. But these things, they happen. Reality, what a concept.
Oh yeah, it's Creative Commons 3.0. So yeah, it's.
I might be going back on night shift here soon.
Oh.
Night or evening night?
Oh, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Oh.
What will you be doing then?
Playing in traffic on 994.
Do you get flags and a tutu or what?
No, it's just live action Frogger.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
GoFundMe to buy Joe a red blanket to wave at the oncoming traffic. Ha! Toro!
No, I don't need to give them any more incentive to drive behind our barrels. We'll have enough of that already.
GoFundMe for more ammo for him in case there's more shots fired on the.
Mm-hmm.
We'll actually be between Klein and I-65 at this point. So all the shootings took place down by Calumet Avenue, so we should be good.
Oh, well, yeah, Calumet. You'd expect that from there. And here I am in Georgia, and I know that name. So that lets you know what kind of a reputation worldwide that
the thing is between
the
Klein
Calumet has
and 65 is pretty sketch too.
It's fine.
Although
We had a
you're probably
Just
more
lock
likely to
lock
find
your doors and pray that you've got the bulletproof glass.
people on the
installed.
side of the road with a working girl.
Oh, speaking of crazy people doing things illegally, they caught the guy that called in the bomb threats at Ted's work.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
He was
Good.
arrested yesterday, so that was a huge
Good.
relief.
That
Mhm.
that took some computer sleuthing, I imagine.
That was above his pay grade. His pay grade.
Well, no, I
But
mean the police had to do some really intense work on that.
yeah, so that's one less thing to have to be stressed about, which is a nice thing. But
But it was just a threat. There was no bomb, right?
correct. And he called 2 in one day.
The police just
That
had
probably
to,
doubled his chances of getting caught.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1:30 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon.
the right company with the right paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Donna, you might like this. There is a reaction video on YouTube where a fellow and his wife go to Iceland, and they walk through a 1960s era. What is the standard design for a Viking sod
Longhouse?
house? Not a longhouse, the
Just a
sod
regular
covered
house.
house. Yeah, with just one face of it sticking out of the hillside and grass
Mhm.
on the roof, but it was built in the looked like from the design to me it was 1920s, maybe 1900 at the earliest, but it was lived into up until 1980 and then abandoned, and they went through it this year sometime, or maybe late last year sometime, and basically everything was still there. It was not a Viking house, but it was the same traditional design, just
Mm-hmm.
inhabited much later. It was basically a
Same
1,000-year-old
building
design
principles
house.
with more modern architecture.
Yeah, more modern stuff. They could not figure out where the stove was. And they kept walking past this big bright orange tube that went all the way up through the house. And I'm going, dude, that's a coal-fired stove. You just don't know what a coal-fired stove looks like.
No.
You're freaking millennials.
Oh, that's like I was watching a video of this couple go around like Illinois to the abandoned towns.
I saw one of the videos you shared for them.
And they were in this one up north, and they saw this big giant stone wheel. They couldn't figure out what it was for, and farm girl here sitting, well, you hone your sickle on that, your plow, your
not that giant. Okay, yeah.
Well, to them,
I
was
thinking giant stone wheel grist mill, but no.
Yeah.
Sharpener.
Stone sharpener. Yeah.
Yeah. At times words escape me, which is basically
welcome to my world.
A good excuse for writer's block, but
probably about 4 or 5 foot tall. I mean, it was a nice size.
Oh, and once you got some momentum on that thing, you could really you could sharpen an axe on that, or a scythe or whatever, really good.
Plowshare,
Plowshare.
Make them sparks fly.
Jesus Christos, make the ganglia twitch. Oh, you've seen that movie? Okay, I've got to find a new obscure source. And this guy has also gone through lots of other abandoned places. Somehow or another, he finds places he's allowed access to. He's not like one of the folks that just barge in. He's got permission to be there, but he doesn't tell where they are Exactly. You just get a
Mm-hmm.
general location because some of them are chock-a-block full of personal belongings for the last folks that lived there.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that was here I watched recently was owned by a doctor who was very important. Had photographs of him with a couple of previous presidents of the United States. Had done all kind of things. Um, had suffered a traumatic divorce coupled with I believe it was a car wreck or something or other, gave him a very bad back injury where he had to be in a wheelchair. So parts of the house were no longer accessible to him. And he had evidently won the lottery and been able to go to a nursing home, but the house was abandoned
Mm-hmm.
and the bank didn't sell it. It they just wrote it off. It's still sitting there full of his stuff. And beautiful, beautiful furniture, weather damaged.
Mm-hmm.
Squatters had been in there, and a lot of other things. But and two or three entire libraries of books that we would know, and then uh, all his personal belongings that didn't make the transition to the nursing home. Um, Still a car sitting outside, relatively about 20, 30 years old. Keys inside the house. Nobody, the lawyers had never sold it. The bank had never foreclosed on anything.
Wonder it's still just sitting there.
Well, like I said, squatters had broken in and been camping out there, which is, about every third video he shows, squatters had been in there.
Mm-hmm.
And but um, uh, Big Banks, spelled with a Z, I think is his nom de plume. Um, Guys were like 6'7", and his wife is about 5'11" and a half or something like that. And he's got a crew that wanders around with him. But he's gone through an old mansion that once belonged to Kenny Rogers and then belonged to a cult, and um, something similar to other folks that were equally as famous that had wound up some immigrant business people had bought and turned into a nice little party area. They're it's fascinating stuff for
Mm-hmm.
kill a hour or two watching a couple of them back to back and then move on to other things. But it's there on YouTube. It's one of those things where you go, damn, if I had the money and I knew where the uh, real estate company that's in charge of that right now is, me and Lindsay be packing a truck and moving off to Beverly.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Gotta find a place in England for that. Oh, I did see a place.
Uh-oh.
You get way excited.
I am way excited. Yes. Well, I can't afford it. There's no way I could make it happen. But there was a beautiful ranch style house beside a major canal that had its own canal
Doc.
boat landing.
Mm.
You um believe me, if I had the money, I'd be willing to throw every bit of it to this and have room for my library and everything we own inside the house and have a boat, be able to dock there, plus be able to do the canal cruising whenever we wanted to. And I'm going, ah. I wouldn't even have to have what Elon Musk considers pocket change to be able to buy this, but it'd be worth
Mhm.
every penny.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I ain't got the money, but I can dream.
Yeah, I watch those videos or look at those pictures and go, okay, this room's going to be my office. This is where the library goes.
Hmm.
So did you? I don't remember who posted it. Somebody posted a video of a guy who says he heard that if you have 1,000 books, you have a library.
Oh yes.
So he counted them. Yeah, Carlos shared a picture of ours.
And then said, "Do I have to count mine?"
And I said I quit counting at 5,000.
Yep. When I moved into this house, I actually did count, and I moved into this house almost 30 years ago, and at that time I had 11,000, and I've added to it since. But
Mhm.
I am totally out of space to build more bookshelves. I don't have enough walls to build more bookshelves. So I'm putting everything on the Kindle now.
He's talking about um, getting those smaller shelves that the library has, like down the middle of the room.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, no, we're not going that far. They can pile.
I did that. I did that in one house where I was renting a room in a house had 12 or 14-foot ceilings. So I
Hmm.
put shelves up as high as I could reach.
Ours are, I believe, 10 foot.
And I had them not only on all four walls, but out in the middle of the room. Had a nice little Skinner's rat maze where you wandered through. And I had my little armchair sitting there with a lamp and everything else that I needed. Um, and just from sheer utility, I had a set of bunk beds that I set up side by side and made
1,000
a
books for a
play
library.
a playground. 1,000 books for a library. Yeah, that's the post. Oh,
My library is
we
right here.
Well,
was
that is. Uh, my idea was we have two round tables. One was my mother's parents from when they started housekeeping, and the other was my parents' table. And I have one of them in the library because my idea was we can sit in there and play Scrabble. No, if you saw the picture of it, it's piled high with books. I may have to agree to take the table out and put more shelves in. But I have two wingback chairs in there. We have an electric fireplace in there that's in front of the old radiator that no longer works since the boiler died. But they have this metal like box that they put over the radiators because you know can't have those radiators show
how
disturbing the
astute.
looks of the house. Yeah, and
Can't
so
have it
I've
look middle
I've
class.
used I've used that and the top of the electric fireplace for my altar there. I've got a Valkyrie on there and a little offering place.
I've got one thing in the bedroom. Lindsay calls it an altar, but it's not really. It's covered with a bunch of my Chinese and Japanese antiques that I've found in the local thrift stores. And the only thing that isn't an antique is a little 3-sword rack for. I hate to. I hate to give it the class of samurai swords because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheap stuff that looked really neat, but it wasn't anything with any pedigree to it. So that's on there too. And
I know what I can bring you in October. I have a little miniature, not that big, metal that's been painted of a London beefeater.
oh, Lindsay will put it proudly on what's left of my bar. No, she's all the liquor bottles are gone. It's all memorabilia now.
Mm-hmm.
And but at one time that sucker looked like the starter kit for the Marinevrium. So I was doing my best, but now just can't do that anymore. Um, like I said, we don't have enough room. If I wanted to build more bookshelves, I'd have to build more rooms to have walls to put bookshelves on. Um,
Well, when we moved in, the library was a formal dining room. It's like we don't need a formal dining room, so we made it into the library. Um, when people come over, depending on how many people we come over, but when we have like an open party, we just push the furniture back in the living room and put two of those 8-foot tables up on the side and have a buffet across there. And yeah,
sounds
that's
like
how
a
big
plan.
my living room is.
Now, I once got fussed at by a teacher in a drafting class because the assignment was to design a house room by room, not the framework, but this was
Mm-hmm.
a interior design class, so it was just the rooms, and I included a library with seating areas and table and whatever, but just walls of bookshelves. And the teacher thought that was the most wasted space he'd ever seen in his life. And I'm going, you've obviously never seen the little apartment that I live in that looks like it was built out of books, dude. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they also had problems with the reproduction that I did of the dining room and living room of the house that I grew up with in up in East Tennessee, which you could sit at a dining room table. There was a half wall that would let you see into the living room where the TV set and everything was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, hey, this is the way the floor plan was. I'm going to do it. I actually sat there at dinner when I was a child watching the nightly body counts from the Vietnam War on the TV set in the other room, big fireplace on the other side. And he goes, that's totally unrealistic. And I'm going, I live there. Um, okay, maybe it's not
What you're used to.
fashionable nowadays, but this was a real house.
All right, Mr.
Something.
Professor. Yeah, you know everything about how things get done in the real world. Academia, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's those
Exactly.
people piss me off. Academia versus real life. You make do with what space you got, and
Yeah. And I could just imagine if I had reproduced the master bathroom off the master bedroom for this same house. And I'm going, you know, now that I am no longer 8 years old, I can see a lot of bow chicka wow wow going on in that master bathroom because that was built for a lot of activities, and it was large enough for more than one family to use at one time.
Brown
Uh,
chicken, brown cow.
Hey,
Not the green room.
my little brother was probably conceived in that house, so I'm not saying in that bathroom, but if it were me and a wife of mine, we certainly would have given it a good old college try. Um, I've never seen anything like that before. I've never seen anything like that since. It seems to have been just something that was um, early 1960s and not in a place that you expect a lot of California type activities going on and from the 1960s, but it was built in that kind of style where there was plenty of opportunity for things to happen, whether or not you expected them to actually happen. Um, I have lived in so many houses. Seriously. I don't believe I could count every place we lived. Not without not without going undergoing hypnosis and somebody trying to pry things out of my memory with a crowbar. Um, wow. Um, talk about a well-stocked mind. And
So
this is from before I turned 18, so it's all family friendly.
I know Dan and Don saw my post about my cigars. Joe, did you see that?
I was going to ask, how many did you think and how many did you end up with?
Uh-huh.
And we got another bit today too. Fortunately, that was 35 divided between Carl and I.
Are we stocked up for the next month?
From the
Ooh.
looks of the photograph, unless they are very excessive about it, they've got
This is one
several
humidor.
months supply.
This is my second humidor.
This is my walk-in humidor.
Should.
That's what you could do with some of your space.
Some of those unused rooms. Hell
These
yeah.
both are humidors. And they are full. Both of them.
Emergency bongo drums.
Playing bongos.
And then I still needed a place, so Carl gave me this little plastic container.
That's a humid don't.
Those are the ones you have to smoke first.
Well, it's pretty well sealed. And
Until she took the lid off.
there are these really cool little Humicare pillows.
Oh, okay. So
You keep distilled water in those, and it keeps it's a lot easier than trying to figure out that thing with the
thing is the thing to do the thing.
At the top of the humidors, there's this little filtration thing
Mm-hmm.
that you have to put water in, but you can only do so much and keep it set. I know I used to be an accountant. Yes, I used to be an accountant, and I really screwed up my math on this one. But I don't. It hurts my head to try to figure out the humidity for keeping those in. The round ones have that. The square ones have this cute little thing that you pour the humid juice in, and it's got little gel things in it, and it releases it gradually. You've probably seen these things for like plants. Same idea.
I need to pay attention to the cat.
I thought I would have about 50 cigars. I've got about 100.
Oops.
I started to say 175 showed up.
It could be like one of those games of, like,
Oh.
guess how many cigars?
And that's not counting the cinnamon fireball cigars, which I will be cutting loose on tomorrow night.
Okay.
Well, and one of the things was I had ordered, it was like almost 2 weeks between the first two orders. And they held up the one, United States Post Office. Why didn't they go with UPS? Held it up in Kansas until the second one came, and they both got delivered the same day. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. Oh, crap, that's one I thought I had. I have a third one coming. Well, it's going to be at least a week before that. No, it came today. Okay.
I will go you one better. Lindsay ordered a tablecloth for the octagonal kitchen table that I built. She waited and she waited and she waited. She watched the tracking numbers. It wound up being delivered to a house in Lansing, Michigan. With our street address on the package, with our zip code on the package, it wound up in Lansing, Michigan, due to someone at the delivery companies or the U.S. Post Office failing to read the numbers correctly. So she called the people that she bought it from, talked to a nice little fellow from India. She could understand his accent. She's British. Don't give me any shit. It's genetic. Anyway, she goes, oh, well, I'm just going to have to reorder that, but I'm afraid to because it'll wind up back there in Michigan. Went to the mailbox 2 days after she talked to the little guy on the phone. Her tablecloth was in the mailbox.
Nice.
The first one, or it was a second one?
She did not ever order a second one. This is the one. Evidently, little Indian dude said, hey, we got to do something about this. British lady wants her tablecloth. We don't want them to evade again. Please send her tablecloth. Got through to the U.S. Post Office, and boom, 2 days later, it's no longer in Lansing. And I'm going, I wonder what they had to do to get it back from the folks that thought they had a free tablecloth.
Right.
I have not heard any police reports from Lansing, Michigan lately, but
UPS and FedEx, step by step, wherever it goes. USPC, you'll show it in Jersey. Then it shows us in Kansas City, which is like 8 hours west of us. Why don't we go to Indianapolis and then come in? Who knows?
Well, the thing was, it spent a week in Bogart, Georgia, which is like 30 miles from here, which is the big UPS hub for the Athens area.
Pork chops and applesauce.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know,
we pulled pork and baked apples today. And I actually said that.
the next thing you
It's from
know,
the Brady
tracking
Bunch,
numbers
Bodie.
say it's no longer in Bogart, it's up in Michigan. And the next thing we know, 2 days after she calls and makes a complaint, it's here. And I'm going, can I let you do my mail order from now on?
Ted gets
United
a lot
States
of...
Post Office does not have a complete tracking area unless you get their app. Oh, wait a minute, and pay for it. And it's expensive.
Ted gets a lot of his Legos off of Bricklink because you can order him 1 or 2 pieces at a time. So he'll get tons of packages, and he'll be following those things around. And I mean, he'll be like, "Hey, it's here in Peoria. I should get it today." And he'll be like, "Did I get it?" No. And he'll look, "Oh, it's in California." Like, where am I going to be next? And there was one that they said was delivered, and he's like, "It was not delivered."
This
And he's like,
third
"No."
delivery, like I say, I was expecting next week. It's still showing in New Jersey. It's not even showing that it's gone to Missouri. And I open up to check to see if it's gotten to Missouri yet. Accepted in Danville. Well, out for delivery. Okay.
Hey, Joe Dog tracked something. I don't even have the slightest idea what it was, but it went from wherever he ordered it to someplace near Chattanooga, to Atlanta, to I think it was Arkansas, and then back to Atlanta, and then somehow or another finally wound up back in Chattanooga, and he got hold of it. But he tells the story a whole lot better than I do. But seriously, it's like I could walk there and pick it up. Oh no, it's now on the other side of the Mississippi River. I can't walk there.
Oh, you can't.
Oh, nice.
It's not
Rich, you went electric voice again on us.
easily.
What?
You digitized again, Rich, right as you spoke.
I said you can, just not easily.
When we were first married,
It'd take me a while.
Carl and I ordered identical black leather jackets. And one day, waiting for them to be delivered, and his brother calls. And he's like, "Are you guys expecting a delivery?" And Carl's like, "Well, yeah, why?" We lived on Greenwood Cemetery Road. About 2.5, 3 miles away from us is Greenwood Avenue.
Oh.
They took it instead of to 126 Greenwood Cemetery Road, they took it to 126 Greenwood Avenue. And the poor little old lady who found a strange box on her front porch when she hadn't ordered anything called the cops.
Instead of just looking at the address and going, "Wow, this is at the wrong spot."
Yeah.
Fortunately,
scared to death, she calls the cops.
Fortunately,
they come out,
Carl's brother is a cop, so
they come out, pick up the package, shake it back to the station, and of course it's to Witzman. And they call Denny down and they say, "Do you have a brother named Carl?" And Dennis is like, "Yeah, why?" "Well, this is his package."
Not the green room.
No. Where we live,
evil
we
woman,
live
I
at
love you.
East Raymond, but there's a West Raymond. We come home one day and there's a big, huge box on our porch, and the picture is quite clear. It's a stroller, and Carl's like, "Is there something you need to tell me?" Yeah,
Right?
I'm like, "No." Yeah, it was supposed to go to 7 West Raymond. So we're like, "Well, that's just across the street. We'll just take it over there." And while he was getting it out of the van, I went up and knocked on the door, and lady just a little bit older than us comes to the door, and I'm like, "Are you expecting a package?" And she says, yes, it's way overdue. It should have been here a couple of days ago. Well, it was at our house. And she's like, oh, good. I was hoping it would get here before my grandchild got here. Yeah. We got a free lawn aeration one time because they ordered one, but they gave it here and didn't check the address.
Oops.
I look out the window from my office and there's this man walking around my yard. I'm like, what the hell? So I go down and, hi, who are you and what are you doing? Well, ma'am, we're from da da da. I'm here to do your lawn, and I'm like, no, you're not, because we didn't order anything like that. We take care of our own yard.
Did anybody else just see Rich like sitting close? They go back and they come up close again.
Yeah, he did it.
Okay.
My net's acting goofy, so
There's a reason his cat is named Barry Allen. All right.
Sorry, I was just like, did I really see that?
Yes, you
I'm the
did.
fastest man alive, which explains why I don't get many dates. Actually, no. Being married explains why I don't get many dates.
I was gonna say I think there's another reason for that, but I wasn't sure to approach it.
So many puns, so little time.
Not enough green room.
Not enough green room. Yeah, really. We need a 6-day green room.
I don't know that my liver could handle a 6-day green room.
Really? I treat it like any other day.
I'd give it the old college try, but...
Literally.
The only difference is that I'm less reserved at the green room, so...
Which is just the way I love you.
I know, but you guys are talking about chaotic, neutral, and chaotic, all that.
Oh, well, Chris finally made it.
Didn't you guys see? I was like, I'm lawful good.
Everyone just said that.
It's your story. You can tell how you want, Dawn.
No, Chris is lawful good. The rest of us are debatable.
I'm a perfect angel with dirty wings.
Pardon me.
You didn't hear the rest of that, did you, Donna?
I was too busy choking over what you said.
I said with dirty wings.
It's just having big troubles.
He's having a lot of trouble.
Every time you take like a 5-minute break of not speaking and then decide to speak, your internet goes, "Nah," and
not today.
What I was trying to say is Lucifer was a perfect angel as well.
Yes.
One of these days you're going to have to stop stealing internet from Bill.
No, I think what it is because of how many applications I've opened for working on the story and stuff like that. It's just there's not enough power on my laptop to power everything I'm trying to do at once.
I understand.
And I'm afraid if I close anything, I'll forget about it. And 10 years later, Nick's going to be bitching about it. And never mind the furthermore. You mentioned this one time. Now I'm addicted to it. Finish the damn story. Why I turned him into Burgess Meredith, I don't know. But
it fits.
I can see
you got him on the ropes, Rock.
See, when somebody says Burgess Meredith, I go to grumpy and grumpier old man.
This is the glitch that never ends. Yes, it will go on and on, my friends. It started earlier. I have no idea why it's glitching. Oh, got back up.
I did that song earlier.
And I quoted Emerson, Lake and Palmer back at you incorrectly, but I quoted it.
I totally missed that.
That's called paraphrasing.
No, it's called screwing up the quote. That's what it's called.
I was trying to give you an out.
I don't need an out.
For the night.
When I make a mistake, I own up to it, and it usually
Accountability.
makes for
What's that?
it usually makes for a better joke. But
Accountability, yeah. Nick loves it when I put in accountability. I'm not accountable for anything.
My accountability is the same every week or every show.
You're busy.
Helping
boy.
Michaela.
basically, I go,
I'm lazy.
I'm me. I'm on my best behavior when it's being recorded. Sometimes my best behavior is questionable. You should see me when I'm not being recorded. Advertise the green room. Then again,
I've seen you.
Some days I behave better than other days when it's recording.
no, I can hear. Oh, you shouldn't. No, that's Donna. I can read your mind like a magazine, and basically, I'm not sure that anybody ever featured me as a foldout before.
Oh.
Well, don't think I could live up to those expectations, but Marcus is willing.
Always give it a try. I always behave myself, especially with my language.
Everything I do is technically behavior.
What's weird is I was in customer service and retail for so long that I could turn off the sarcasm and the swearing and everything like a light switch. And then when I stopped, I'm like, that whole light switch broke.
Yeah, really, that thing shorted out permanently.
It did. It shorted out. It got used way too much in my 20s and 30s.
Oh, mine didn't short out. I just ripped the damn wires out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have a dimmer switch.
No, mine. You could see the little
Just dial it
twinkling
back a
of the.
notch.
You can see them arcing and sparking and everything yet.
Yeah, when I worked at the florist, being the accounts receivable bookkeeper, somebody wanted to complain about their bill or about what went wrong or something. I was the one that had to talk to them. Yes, and my boss was one of those who the customer is always right, which, let's face it, customer is not always right. But you got to do what your boss says. Out front in the store. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. We'll take good care of that. Go back through the design room to my little office quarter. You got to go, yeah.
Back when I worked retail, my general manager was like that. It was, basically give them the store, make them happy. We had an operations manager, Karen. She was the one that originally hired me at Staples.
Karen, okay.
Did she live up to the name?
No, actually, she. There was one time we had a customer in, and she followed the GM's orders. Basically give away the store if that'll make the customer happy. And everything that she offered this customer was just not enough. And she finally got to the point. She said, "Look, this is not Burger King. You cannot have it your way, and I am the queen."
Atta girl. I like her.
So Karen, in a good
Customer didn't, but
yeah. When Woodley sold and SCI bought them out, they brought in a temporary manager. What he did not know was that in doing the front of the store stuff, I became a very adept liar. Now, on the 25th of the month was when we cut off and we'd send out the bills. If you still had a bill from the month before, you got a whole 50 cents put on it.
Ooh, that's one hell of a late fee.
Yeah, I know. But what most people in Danville don't realize is it takes 2 days to mail from Danville to Danville because it's got to go to Champaign and then back.
Yep.
So, I'd mail out the bills, get their check in later that same day, and I just mark off the 50 cents. Well, I had this one gal call in, and a lot of people would call in and complain. I'm like, no problem. It crossed in the mail. I've taken it off your account. And they're cool. This one witch called in, and she is reaming me. And I was, ma'am, I've taken care of it. It's crossed in the mail. It's fine. And I finally hung up on her. Next thing I know, my temporary manager is bursting into the room. Turns out she was a friend of his, and she called him saying I'd hung up on him. And I looked up with my most angelic face and said, well, I thought she hung up on me. And he's like, must have been something wrong with the phone. I'm like, must have been, because I thought she hung up on me because, I told her she didn't have to pay the 50 cents. I'd taken it off. And he's like, well, okay then. But the first time I was on Stupid O'Clock, Joe Dog pulled me in, and, we sat there and we talked, and he's watching me with that grin he's got when he's up to something. And as the night goes on, the grin just kind of fades away. And pretty soon he says, Aunt Donna, are you feeling okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? He says, well, you're not cussing any. I'm like, Joe Dog, this isn't my show. It's your show. I don't cuss on it, except for Nita Lanning's. I figure if she can drop the F-bomb, I can drop the F-bomb.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, when I worked at a Champion store, and this chick came in and wanted to return something one time. And the guy that was working part-time, he worked there part-time. He worked there about once a month. And the only reason he worked there is because he had 2 teenage daughters, and he wanted to get their bras 30% off. I don't blame him.
Yeah, that could be expensive.
Yeah.
Don't hand me straight lines.
He's like, he goes, I'm not too proud to say I'm only working here so I can get discounts on my daughter's bras. Anyways.
Much better. Much better
Say it that way. Yes.
Yeah, trying to get a kid's bra 30% off.
Yeah, they usually try to get it all off. Anyway, Don.
But you want to do that to an adult, not a kid.
Was he a famous singer that used to be black turned white? That's why he only worked one day a month? Or
he was
wouldn't be interested in the gender that would wear a bra, though.
Does he believe he can fly?
He was a 4th grade teacher.
Continue with your story.
That's a class 5 felony.
Anyway, Dawn, you were saying.
After midnight.
This lady walks in, and she's just ranting and raving. She wants to return something. And I was, at the time, I was only probably 20, 21, 22. We had a really young management team. And she's like, I want to talk to the guy that just went to the back room, the one that's the manager. And I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am. He's not the manager. I'm the manager. And if you want anything done, you're going to have to deal with me. he said he heard me say that and he was laughing so hard behind the corner that we were surprised that we didn't hear him. Because, this is back, I'm in my 40s now. We're looking 20 years ago. So the 20-year-olds were different than they are now.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, oh, you're just an entitled millennium. It was like, how dare this little girl talk to me like this type of thing. And he's back there laughing. And I was like, if you want anything, you got to go through me.
I had a customer during back to school season. I was the customer service lead. So I could do everything the managers could except for hire and fire. And I get called up.
I'm thinking you were wishing you had one of those abilities, if not both.
Yeah. So I get called up. This customer's just pitching a fit and saying that we were false advertising, which, gray area.
It's a business.
We had a pencil sharpener listed as free after rebate, and it was listed as an electric pencil sharpener. Now, most people, when they think electric, are probably thinking a plug-in pencil sharpener. It was battery operated.
Mm-hmm.
Still technically electric, just not in the way
different how it gets power.
Yeah.
Technically, it is electric because batteries are electricity.
Right. So they're pitching a fit. There's a whole huge line. I'm like, you know what? I'll just run over there. If there's a cheap plug-in one, I'll penny it out. Get them out of here. Oh, cheapest plug-in one we had was like $60 or something. I'm like, yeah, I ain't pennying that out. So I go back up and I said, I'm sorry, I said, it is electric. It runs on batteries. That's not electric. I said, you know what? Let me go grab one of the actual managers. Let me see what I can get approved from them. So I walk all the way back into receiving where Reggie, our sales manager, was at, and I'm just standing there. And he's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "I'm just killing time." He goes, "For what?" So got a customer up front, pissed off about the electric pencil sharpener being battery operated and not plug-in. He goes, "Okay, what do they want?" They want a plug-in one for free. He goes, "Well, that's not happening." I said, "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm just standing here." I told her I was coming back to talk to you, and I already knew your answer, so gave him the whole story in case he actually had to come up front. I asked him, I said, how do I explain this to her without saying you need to go back to first grade science?
Thomas Edison would argue your idea of electricity, man.
Right.
Considering that's what he wanted all electricity to be. And he campaigned against... Okay, never mind. I'm getting too nerdy here.
Well, what gets me is she obviously didn't read the box it was in, because it would show that you use batteries and not a cord.
Right. So I go back up front, tell her, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. If you'd like to return it, we will gladly refund you, the money, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, "Well, I'm just going to go across town to that other office supply store. What's their name?" I'm like, "Oh, Office Depot?" I said, "Do you think they're going to give you the same thing for free? Because I guarantee you they won't. Ask for Lindsay Bailey. She's the manager over there." Lindsay being one of the girls I went to high school with. So she storms out. There's this little old lady that was next in line. And she goes, "Did they just return one of those pencil sharpeners? Because you're out on the shelf." I said, "Yeah, they did." She goes, "Can I buy it?" I said, "Well, you realize it's battery, right?" And she goes, "Yeah, and batteries produce fucking electricity."
Technically, they store and release, but...
The only reply I would have had to the lady was, "Did you try it with an electric pencil?"
Oh my.
Once the cognitive dissonance sets in, you've
Right.
got them forever.
Well, I don't know if I've told you. When I worked at the call center, we had our books had French, English, and Spanish in them. Our owner's manuals for I took calls on TVs, and this guy called and he's like, "I'm never buying one of your TVs again." Okay, well, I apologize, sir. What can I help with? Blah blah blah. Your manual has the word negro in it. Like, what? So I'm trying to explain. He's telling me, I'm like, oh, that's the Spanish word for black. Well, you can't put that in this book. That's offensive. And I literally told the guys that, well, you need to talk to Spain and or Mexico and let them know that they need to change the origin of their language so that it does not offend you.
And I think Portugal and Brazil and
Hey,
Yep.
I'm lucky I didn't get fired for that one, but hey, I was just like, dude, you are so stupid. I'm like, no, that's the, and this was, not right away. This was after trying to explain to him, no, Spanish for black is negro. That's the language. So this was like 15 minutes. And finally I was like, okay, fine. You want to change? Well, you have to go right to the source.
yeah, it's.
I'm sorry,
it's
sir, but
negro,
you are
not
restricted to
Negro.
the English translation of the user's manual from now on.
Like that one.
It's like Rich just said. It's pronounced nay, not me.
Right.
Negro.
And it's,
And
Yeah.
even then, there's still a lot of folks today that use Negro for African American, Black, whatever you want to call them. That's not going to offend yourself, because in the end, that's the only person you have to worry about really offending, because everyone else, screw it. I mean, you're going to piss
Everybody
someone off
else
somewhere.
has a firm grasp of reality.
but I bet you I can make you guys laugh at the funniest call. It wasn't mine. I wish it would have been mine. But then later on down the road, I worked for another department within the call center. We took calls on I don't care. What are they going to do? Fire me? I took calls on Claritin, like the allergy pill. And the guy who sits across from me in the cubicle, he gets a call, and basically this lady goes, well, I was wondering if you can use Claritin for animals. And he's like, well, it's not been tested, but some vets say it's okay. You have to talk to your vet. She's like, okay, well, my dog has allergies. And so I gave him Benadryl, and that didn't seem to help. So I gave him Claritin, and it seemed to help, but I noticed that his penis was smaller.
Don't give it to your husband.
I'm pretty sure that's
That's what's been wrong with me this whole time. I need to get off the Claritin.
And this is why I never try and get monetized on this show. although I have a better chance of being monetized for what we come up with than 90% of the other shows on YouTube. I mean, seriously.
I would have been so fired, because I'd be like, why did you get your dog's
We
cock?
don't want the answers. We don't ask the questions, and we don't want the answers, but we want to know.
Yeah.
Swing
You
and a
okay,
miss.
Donna?
Oh,
Oh my God. We had everybody had to go on call work because we couldn't take a call for about 20 minutes because we were laughing so hard.
How?
just out of pure morbid curiosity, how many calls did you guys get a day for Claritin? Like, that's not something I would think to call in.
That's not what I'm wondering.
How many times did you
I'm
get
wondering
calls
how she
about
I want to know
knows.
what Aunt Donna's wondering.
I'm
I'll answer
wondering,
your question, Joe, after I hear what Aunt Donna has to say.
I'm wondering, how does she know that it's smaller?
That was the exact thing. We were like,
Why are you looking at your dog's cock? Yes. That would have been my response. And I would have been fired.
Are you measuring it?
But I would have actually, been happy with that firing.
so to answer your question,
want to know.
Joe, we took calls on I took calls on Dr. Scholl's, like insoles and stuff like that, and the
No,
wart
I did not
removers.
affect
And
dogs'
yes, I had,
penises.
Okay, so Dr. Scholl's, what, they couldn't figure out how to cut it to make it fit?
well, pretty much. But we also had the wart removers too. The only call that ever made me like actually gag was this guy going, "Yeah, I get this wart about every 10 years, and I just bite it off and it goes away."
So why,
Hmm.
if he's biting it off, why would he need to call in for?
I don't remember the rest of the call because that part I was like, "Ooh." I literally like semi gag. So we did Claritin and copper tone sunscreen. The biggest call with that was the ababenzone turned my clothes yellow. Yes, it'll say it'll turn it yellow, but it turned it yellow. Yes.
Oh, I thought they were going to complain the family dog kept pulling their daughter's diaper off or whatever. But
Oh no, we got calls about that though too. People said that was offensive.
The copper tone turned my dog's penis smaller. I was rubbing it in, and it's just not the size it used to be. He used to be
Okay, so
like
I
a great
saved.
Dane, and now he's running like a Chihuahua.
don't give me straight lines. Ah,
Those
Wait,
were
wait,
straight,
wait,
dude.
wait, wait,
Those
wait,
were straight.
wait. I saved the best product for last.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
Well, no, because we took some other stuff. We took like Coracetin and Aspirin and some of those other over-the-counter drugs. No big deal. We didn't get calls on those very often.
Okay.
The other one that we got, Miralax.
What the shit is someone calling in for on that?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
It made their
The guy
dog's penis
what?
smaller.
One guy wanted us to send us a 8x10 glossy of how well it worked for him, and he was legit serious.
We're not into German Scheisse videos, no.
I'm like, so I
That's where
stand
you
up. I actually got that call. I stood up and I was like, "Sir, I really appreciate that the Miralax has worked for you, but it is not necessary for you to send an 8x10 glossy to show us how well it worked." And I sat back down, and you saw everybody else come up from their cubicles going,
Yeah, the Gopher pharmacist immediately was,
got a standing ovation from everybody else you work with.
did we just fucking hear what we thought we were?
See, I
What?
wouldn't have said that to him. My response would have been, "Okay, one moment, sir. Let me pull up the address to corporate. You're going to want to address it to this person.
"Well, no, I just wanted to
By the
say
way,
good
my
night."
name is Doris, and
But I stood up. I knew nobody else had. There was only 6 of us in the department, so we were a small department. So I knew nobody else was on a call. So if I stood up and I said that and I repeated it like she said it, that I would get that from everybody else. So I did that on purpose.
All right, I've got to talk about one of the calls that I did not take, I was present for. And I ended up taking a call from the user right after they got off the phone with the technician that was currently involved. Bobby Turk's voice was maybe a half an octave above Barry White. Makes me seem soprano in my tone. So Bobby Turk, Bobby. Bobby.
Oh, I'm thinking girl.
Sorry, Bobby. Bobby. The name came up, looked like a guy's name. Again, voice was half an octave above Barry White. Other technicians like, all right, yeah, answering along everything, all right, sir, thank you very much. We'll make sure we get on that right away. I am not a sir. And then hangs up on him, calls, and I get Bobby. And I'm like, okay, Bobby. And then Chris just looked over at me. And it immediately, so we actually have a photo database.
So we can actually go into the photo database, put in a person's name, and we can see a picture of the person that we're talking to make it a little bit more humanized. And it's not just a voice. We're now connecting a face. So right afterwards, we immediately, and so if I don't shave here for about 3 or 4 days, Bobby had that. Bobby looked like they were a couple operations, one side or the other of a transition. And it's like, okay. And then the name in the database is Roberta Turk. Like, oh. Their separation package from the firm. And back then, the FedEx truck would drop off your separation package before you got home to let you know you are no longer working for the firm. So you would complete your work day. You would get home, open it, you're fired. When we found out that Bobby Turk got their package, Lee Holloway, great technician, love him to death. Again, another voice that's about the same level as Barry White. Donna, you would really, really enjoy how deep his normal speaking voice is, not to mention his singing voice. But anyways, we found
I
out
wouldn't
about
appreciate
that. Donna.
I know, but I wouldn't.
Donna would. Well, I know Donna's.
He doesn't know you well
for
enough
deep
to
voice.
judge.
Yeah.
I would appreciate it too.
Okay. Yeah. It's not everybody's thing, but I do know it's Donna's thing. So now I know it's your thing as well. Okay, awesome. But Lee got up and he actually ran a victory lap around her cubicles. She was such a bitch.
When I got okay, I know I don't have a oh my god, a feminine voice, but I would get when I'd be like, okay, thank you for calling, blah blah. This is Dawn. How can I help you? Dawn, Don. Like, well, no, Dawn, like the morning.
If it helps you sleep at night, sure, yeah.
But I was like,
If it'll speed up this call me Robert.
I just lost you guys. Give me a second.
My sister-in-law said I scared her kids because my voice was too shrill.
Sorry, I'm having.
Your voice is too shrill.
Mm-hmm.
Donna, you might appreciate this one. Did you ever use Ventrilo while playing World of Warcraft to communicate amongst a bunch of people that are playing and stuff like that? I forgot to turn off Ventrilo. So Ventrilo was still on. I'd logged out. I'd gone to bed. I'd gone to work the next day. I didn't know that Ventrilo was still on my computer.
It's hard to turn off.
No, it wasn't. Then again, IT. But Misty was in the kitchen and wasn't expecting it. One of the guys in our guild, his name was Buna, deep Southern Texas boy, has just a really deep gravel and broken glass sounding voice and stuff like that. Immediately starts talking over vent. Scared the hell out of Misty. She almost wet herself because all of a sudden there's this really deep voice coming from the living room. And then I got an earful when I got home. And then, of course, I had to share it with the guild.
Of course.
Yeah, so she had the ever-loving hell scared out of her because all of a sudden, and then it finally dawned on her. She's like, wait, I know that voice. That's Buna. What the hell? And she tracked it to my computer, so she turned it off, and then she yelled at me when I got home.
It whatted on you? It whatted on you?
What did it do to you?
Oh, they didn't do anything to me. Oh, she gave me hell, but...
No, it dawned on you.
Oh.
Anyway,
hey, that makes perfect sense.
The reason I don't like that.
Frightening.
The reason I don't like
Enlightening.
that is because I'm not completely paying attention. I'll hear it and go, "What? Oh shit, not me."
Okay, how do you think I feel when people call other people a dick?
Oh, painful.
And the thing is, I
Yeah.
am a dick, so sometimes I'm like, I didn't do that.
In one of my guilds, there's a young chap. Oh, his voice was so deep. And when we go on Rage or something, it's just like, hush up. Patrick's talking. Go ahead, Patrick. And then one day, just he and I were on there, and we're chatting, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I'm gay." I'm like, Patrick,
I don't care. Just talk.
I've met your husband. I kind of got that figured out. I'm not after you for sex. I just want to hear your voice. You don't have to talk sex to me. Read the phone book. Just keep talking.
Mhm. There's certain voices that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, when we went to see Home Free, they did Elvira, and at the end, the last Papa Mau Mau, Tim actually knelt down on the stage and hit that Mau Mau, and you could see it ripple up. And your seat went, whoa. Yeah, let's hit that one again.
Getting hot in here. So I'll have to tell you guys about the saying that I hate even more than it dawned on me, which is I got up at the butt crack of dawn. I'll tell you a story about that tomorrow night because tonight it's
not
no.
for this.
I'll tell a
it's
story
green
And
about
you know Michaela uses that just because you said you don't like it.
I'll give a butt crack at dawn story because Misty probably never going to listen to these, and if so, I'll die and just not know it. So Misty's middle name is Dawn.
Okay.
So actually, okay, here's two technically butt crack at dawn stories. That will get me murdered. So, we're within the first week or two of being married, and I'm laying in bed. I'd actually worked a 20-hour day. I'm laying in bed, and I hadn't quite hit full sleep yet, but everything was shutting down. And Misty was getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden I just hear whack, like a duck quacking, a wild duck quacking in our bedroom. And the thing is, there was a retaining pond behind the townhouses that we lived in that there were wild ducks. I'm like, did a duck get in here? What the hell happened? And then Misty is just on the ground going back and forth between laughing and crying. And then from the ground, she just whispers, "Get down, they're shooting." So now I need to tell her grandmother. So my grandmother-in-law loved farting, and she loved it when other people farted as well. She thought it was just funny as all get out. Apparently, she and one of her husbands were getting ready to go to sleep at night, and they both worked at the prison at the time. She worked in the office, and he worked as, I believe, a correctional officer, or he might have worked somewhere else in one of the other offices. But anyways, they both worked at the prison, and they're living in a trailer, and she's in bed, he's in bed, and she's getting ready for bed, and I guess she just cracks one off. But I guess it sounded like a shotgun blast because he dove out of bed screaming, "Get down, they're shooting." So now I know if "get down, they're shooting," someone's cracked one off. So another butt crack at dawn story. So Misty was sleeping in the buff, and I did something to piss her off the night before. So, when I woke up to get ready for work, I leaned over to kiss her on the butt cheek, to literally kiss her ass, and she cracked one off right in my face. Blew my hair back.
Oh my God.
I've had the wife let one off that ruffled the sheets.
We have the classiest entertainment on this
Oh,
show,
yeah.
let me tell you.
Oh, wait. Well, here comes my story. You've heard of white collar and blue collar.
Mm-hmm.
My family, the
Oh,
gods
no.
love them, are afraid collared hicks. And
I've heard that too.
Male or female, farting is something to be proud of. I've seen my sweet niece.
Soup beans.
Yeah, not my mother's soup beans, because she knew how to make them so you didn't fart. I've seen my sweet niece, who looks like Joni from Happy
Hey,
Days.
Mike Jimmy.
You
Hi,
picked
Mike.
a great time to come in, Mike Jimmy.
Turn to her brother and lift her leg and rip one.
The one cheek snake, yes.
We had been to my niece's something to do with school, and then out to eat. And we went back to my brother's house. My mom, my sister-in-law, and my niece were in one car. And I, like an idiot, went with my father and brother. 2-door sedan. Remember those little windows in back that aren't that big? All of a sudden, both Dad and Dale at the same time let one off that I swear you could hear from Lafayette. You probably could have heard in Danville.
Oh, God.
And every time Dale told the story, he'd laugh because he said there was Sis in the back seat going with the window and putting my head out the window like a dog. Oh my!
I don't know if anyone
right.
is familiar
Joe
with
is gonna
CPAP.
hate that he missed this one.
Yeah. So a CPAP machine basically forces air down your throat so that your airway doesn't collapse on you while you're sleeping and cause sleep apnea. Misty and I both have CPAP machines. I used to have a fan on my side of the bed because my body runs normally warm to begin with. So I used to sleep with, just a sheet instead of an actual blanket and then the fan on at the same time. Well, it was never good for Misty because what would happen is if I cracked one off in the middle of the night, the fan would blow it to her side and then it would get sucked into her CPAP. And then all of a sudden I get woke up by bleh, 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 bleh.
And then she'd smack you, right?
No, not on purpose. Well, she alleges not on purpose. I love my wife to death, and sometimes I'm willing to strangle her to prove it. But when she turns over in the middle of the night in her sleep, the arm comes flopping over.
Mm-hmm.
Usually right into my CPAP mask. So she's basically punching me a wide area in the face. And so, or she's also turned over in her sleep and her knee came over just wrong. Woke me up and I was in a falsetto for a good several minutes.
Bang a go.
Hello, boys and girls. It's your old pal Mickey Mouse.
Oh my God.
And there's the copyright strike. Oh.
Yeah, this is why Carl and I sleep in separate rooms. Not only am I an active sleeper, but he has to have total darkness, total silence, and he sleeps like this. I mean, sometimes I'm like, breathe, come on, breathe. Okay, he breathes, he's fine.
Emotep.
Me, because of my
Emotep.
tinnitus, I leave the TV on all night. And so we finally, yeah. But since we met and married within 3 months, it kind of works out better this way because it's kind of like shall I say, going on a date in those certain times.
Adds a little bit more spice. As you guys say, your place or mine.
Unless she runs into the wall.
Door.
Or the
Door.
door.
Oh, it was a door, excuse me.
Hey,
You know,
I'm willing to
Donna.
believe both have happened.
I haven't hit the wall yet, but I think I still have a knot.
I don't know. I think you've hit the wall a few times.
Thanks for the correction, guys, on the wall or door instead of the wall.
Maybe we're breaking the fourth wall.
Then again,
Crap, I don't know where that wall is, so I don't know where to look to break it
ask
properly.
Warren Zevon. He's always throwing himself up against it. Oh, a music fan. Okay. All right. We got 4 minutes left.
Ow.
Oh.
Michaela just put a good one in the comments.
What'd she say?
There's no wonder Andy won't do anything with you.
Oops.
In some states, that's grounds for divorce. In some states, that's grounds for marriage. Depends on what ground you're willing to defend. We got about 3
In some
minutes
states,
left.
that's foreplay.
Should we end it on that?
No. My apologies beforehand. But yeah, one of the reasons this show exists is because I frequently suffer from insomnia, and I could not figure out why I stayed awake all night, and some days all night. And then suddenly it dawned on me.
Oh, wait. I can't do that right now. But you know.
Oh, I'm sorry, but one of these days it's just going to be. We'll tell these jokes so many times you go, screw it, I'm used to it now.
You would think.
It's got to happen.
It's all. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like I'm not really offended by it. It's just one of those things.
Still, half the fun of having friends like these is being able to get a reaction out of them that they did not foresee, which is why the green worm works so bad.
The green worm.
So badly. Yeah. Excuse me. Gotta take my medicine.
If you have a green worm, we have a whole other issue we need to talk about.
Don't give it Claritin, it may shrink.
Only if you're a dog.
Hey, you take enough epinephrine, everything shrinks. I mean, seriously. Especially
So
your
that's
bank
loratadine.
Take enough epinephrine and your heart will explode.
Mm-hmm.
Take enough epinephrine, it'll bring a bird back to life.
Oh, you guys are killing me tonight, though.
No,
Actually,
no, we're not, but it's on the list.
All I can say is we're not going to apologize because you should have known what was going to happen.
Oh, I know. I knew you guys were going to make me laugh. I honestly, it's like one of those, it hurts so good type of thing.
Well, that's the thing. Half the time, I think we're actually trying to make everybody laugh, and the other half the time, I think we're actually making philosophical points that nobody's going to pay any damn attention to because we didn't make them laugh.
Or sometimes
Okay.
both.
Time to say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night.
Good night, Gracie.
Gracie. And we are going to go and, there's some adventurers in trouble, so it's about time we helped them out. Now, if everybody, remember where you parked.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down.